Control, in its most effective form, is never obvious. It does not arrive with force, nor does it declare itself openly. It does not resemble chains, nor does it feel like restriction. Instead, it moves quietly, almost invisibly, through the structures of everyday life. It embeds itself in routine, disguises itself as choice, and presents itself as something entirely natural. And that is precisely why it works. Because the most powerful form of control is not the one that is imposed upon you, but the one you fail to recognize. Each day begins with a small, almost insignificant gesture. You wake up, and without much thought, you reach for your phone. There is no instruction, no voice telling you what to do, no visible authority guiding your hand, only a subtle impulse, familiar, automatic, nearly effortless. It feels like your decision. It feels like freedom. But if you pause, even briefly, a question begins to form. Was it truly a choice? Or was it a pattern, learned, reinforced, and repeated so many times that it no longer feels external? We exist within systems that are no longer passive. They do not simply respond to us. They study us. Every interaction, every scroll, every pause, every moment of attention is quietly observed. These fragments of behavior, insignificant on their own, are collected and assembled into something far more complete. A profile begins to emerge, not a reflection of who you believe yourself to be, but a precise record of what you consistently do. It maps your habits, anticipates your reactions, and learns your tendencies with increasing accuracy. It knows what captures your attention. It understands what keeps you engaged. And over time, it becomes capable of predicting what you will do next. In some ways, it becomes a version of you, one defined not by intention, but by behavior. But this system is not designed for understanding alone. It is designed for influence. Because in the modern world, attention has become the most valuable resource, more valuable than time, more valuable than labor, because attention determines direction. What you focus on shapes what you think. What you repeatedly see shapes what you believe, and what you believe begins to shape who you become. This is not coincidence. It is design. What appears on your screen is not random. It has been selected, filtered, and arranged. Not necessarily to inform you, but to hold you, to keep you engaged for as long as possible. And the longer your attention is sustained, the more effectively it can be guided. This is the nature of contemporary control. It does not command. It suggests. It does not restrict. It nudges. You are not told what to think. Instead, you are shown what to see, again and again, until certain ideas begin to feel familiar, and familiarity over time becomes indistinguishable from truth. Repetition creates comfort. Comfort creates acceptance, and acceptance, eventually, becomes belief. All without a single moment where control feels present. Your thoughts feel like your own. Your opinions feel earned. Your desires feel authentic. But how many of them were shaped before you were aware of their formation? How many preferences were influenced by what you were repeatedly exposed to? How many conclusions feel self-evident simply because they were presented often enough? This is where the boundary begins to blur. The line between independent thought and guided perception becomes increasingly difficult to see. And when that line disappears, control no longer needs to hide, because it has already become part of you. Yet, the most significant cost of this system is not simply influence. It is what is quietly exchanged in return. Time, not taken suddenly or violently, but given away in small, almost invisible fragments. A few minutes here, a brief scroll there, moments that seem too insignificant to matter, but they accumulate. Minutes become hours, hours become days, and over time, those days form the substance of a life, all while the individual remains convinced that nothing meaningful has been lost. This is the quiet efficiency of modern systems. They do not demand your awareness. In fact, they depend on its absence, because awareness changes everything. The moment you begin to notice, even slightly, the experience shifts. The seamless flow of content begins to reveal its structure. The endless stream starts to feel less organic and more intentional. The impulse to check, to scroll, to engage begins to feel less automatic. And in that moment, something subtle but powerful occurs. The illusion weakens. The system itself does not disappear. It remains present, unchanged in its function. But your relationship to it begins to transform. You are no longer entirely within it. You begin to observe it. An observation creates distance. That distance, however small, is where freedom begins. To understand this is not to reject technology, nor to abandon modern life. These systems are deeply integrated into the fabric of society, and in many ways, they provide real value. But understanding allows for a different kind of participation, a conscious one. It allows you to recognize that influence is constant, that your attention is being competed for at every moment, and that what you choose to engage with is not neutral. It shapes the direction of your thoughts, your beliefs, and ultimately, your life. You may never fully step outside the system, but you can see it. And that distinction matters more than it seems, because control is most powerful when it is mistaken for freedom, when guidance feels like choice, when influence feels like identity. And the moment that illusion is questioned, even briefly, something essential is reclaimed. Not control over the system, but awareness within it. And perhaps that is the most important realization of all. You were never forced, only guided. If this made you pause, even for a moment, then it has already done something most systems try to prevent. It made you aware. And if you choose to stay aware, to question more, to see more, to think more clearly, then consider subscribing, not out of habit, but as a conscious decision to keep exploring ideas that most people never stop to examine.